Danny's World update is literally right around the corner, but there's a specific update that some of you guys care more about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this alternative universe that takes an alternative take on Danny's World. It's a super expansive world that over here on the Hopeless channel, we have grown to fall in love with. It's known as Danny's Wasteland. The artwork and lore behind everything regarding Danny's Wasteland is honestly incredible. And as always, we wouldn't have this amazing and wonderful series if it wasn't for Transportation OK 5843 over on Reddit. Please go show this man some love if you haven't already. And if you guys want and have any questions regarding Danny's Wasteland, the creator was so nice to be susceptible to answering questions. So any questions you guys have, leave them down in the comments. And if someone commented it, leave a like on that comment. And I will ask the creator your guys' favorite and most pressing Danny's Wasteland questions. Either way, without further ado, I think we should just get right on into it. Danny's Wasteland. Either way, moving on, here is our first tune of the day, and if you're confused by any of this, go ahead and watch the other two Danny's Wasteland videos. This is part 3. Moving on, as you can see, we got Wasteland Roger, and some tunes have like items, some don't. As you can see right here, Roger does in fact have his own unique item. He has something called the revolver, which honestly, given his skin, given the context of Roger, makes sense. In a Danny's Wasteland scenario, or if there's ever an apocalypse in Danny's World, we all know that Roger would be one of the guys gather everyone. He would essentially be the sheriff. Roger in literally almost every capacity reminds me of Sheriff from Cars. He's literally just that guy. With that being said, I think I yapped enough. Let's go ahead and see what the gun does. So, it's called the revolver, and there's no gimmick, no special power, no beating around the bush. It's a single actual action revolver Roger has been keeping on him in case of emergencies. You heard it here first. Roger has a Glock. Either way, moving on. Something that I feel kind of surprising about Roger is that Roger's patience is rather thin these days, which I honestly find it surprising, especially considering Toodles isn't in their group, but maybe since Toodles isn't in their group, that's why his patience is so thin. Roger planned on giving the hat to Toodles for her first real case. This shows a major character development, if you guys know Danny's World lore, where Roger normally always just kind of brushes aside Toodles' request. As we know, that is the junior detective hat, and Roger was finally going to give it to Toodles. That's honestly, it's pretty sad, man. And as you can see, Roger has above average Iker tolerance, no surprises there. Roger is stressed out in the Wasteland. On top of his personal investigation involving memory loss, whoa! So I guess he's lost a lot of his memories and potentially missing a tune. He's dealing with self-induced guilt over losing Toodles. Oh man, so no wonder his patience is so thin. So that makes sense. His patience is so thin because he can't find Toodles, which is, yeah, it's sad. Roger doesn't have any abilities without Iker, but he is trained in self-defense and he has glaucoma. That was a really bad joke. He's like has one eye and the Glock. Moving on, we have Pebble. Aw, hey little boy. Oh wow, yeah. So Pebble doesn't just have bad Iker tolerance. Pebble has, I think this is the first time we've seen this, terrible Iker tolerance. Not below average, not bad, straight terrible. But as we can see, Pebble has a courage collar, and whoever put this on Pebble wanted to make sure he was well protected. We're assuming Dandy. With the help of the collar, Pebble's barks act as a shockwave capable of pushing enemies and objects away. He seems to know when it's a good time to use it. We can actually investigate what this looks like. So, his normal ability right now, Speak, has that little, red flashy aura that we know about. The only difference is, as of right now, whenever he does that ability, he actually alerts every Twisted in his direction. Whereas now, whenever he does this animation, he propels everything near him, around him, and surrounding him away, and also damaging them. If you ask me, when you're surrounded and there's tunes are farther and fewer between, I think being able to push things away is a lot better than trying to alert them. It would be easy to alert any Twisteds and whatever the other Twisted forms are called. I can't remember, unfortunately. Either way, Pebbles never feels fully at home anywhere. He can't understand why. Okay, I mean, this doesn't specify before or after the Wasteland. Because if he can find a place called home before the Wasteland, it wouldn't make sense that he would in it. You know? Pebbles does not care about his time in the Wasteland. Wow, okay. It's an arguable topic on how smart Pebbles actually is. It makes sense, he can't speak, right? But he clearly doesn't mind whatever happens around him as long as he keeps his friends safe and he's fed. I think that second part is more important than the first part. Moving on. Pebbles doesn't like his collar taken off or taken away. Makes sense. I mean, that's his only real power that he has, is to keep and propel Twisted away. He will growl at you if he knows you'll try to take it. I would too, Pebble. I would too. The best thing Pebbles has is his speed. Makes sense. I mean, most of us would assume that a dog in a freaking wasteland would probably be faster than anyone else. He doesn't have much defense or much to defend himself besides making a ruckus. He's a freaking rock. Like, he has a built-in tortoise shell wrapped around his entire body. I feel like that's pretty good in itself. Moving on, we have V. Okay, V in the Wasteland's interesting. I'm gonna say, in my opinion, before reading any of this, in the Wasteland, V has got to be one of the worst tunes, right? Well, let's go ahead and see what Mr. Transportation thinks for V. And immediately, the thing that draws my attention, allures me immediately, is as you can see below V's feet, his Iker tolerance is a special case, which makes sense. He's a freaking computer, right? Something that has surprised V the most through this ordeal is the fact that she actually misses the other tunes. It's an emotion she's not used to. And I guess it's kind of weird because when I think of V, I just think of Karen the computer from SpongeBob. And so when the topic of, like, you know, emotion and whatnot comes up for V, I just kind of scratch my head because this is what I think of V. I guess I need to look past that. I'm gonna look at V the rest of the time as they are a normal tune and most definitely not just a computer. From V's perspective, working with Roger has proved to be the best outcome she could have gotten. Also, in case you guys are wondering, every single one of these like posts has 3 characters together, and those 3 are grouped together. So V, Pebbles, and Roger are a group of 3. Got it? V has mixed feelings about the Wasteland. V isn't exactly having the easiest time out here. There are noticeable gaps and data missing in her system and memory that leave her concerned on how everyone was separated. I could see how that would be more concerning for V than others, because based off that, it seemed like she would normally have this information already. So I guess it's even less inherent. They're obviously all concerned and scared on how they all got separated, but V's more so because they're concerned that their normal abilities to know things is kind of broken. And if that's something you're used to and always having and it randomly being taken away from you, yeah, I could see that being incredibly terrifying. V actually has a handful of weaponry built in. What the heck? She's just never needed it until now. What? Can I see what they're talking about? Either way, here's the group of 3 together. You know, this is oddly not that much of an oddball group. Something ain't right, squad. Okay, well, maybe I changed my mind. I think any squad that has Pebble in it without Dandy is a weird squad. As you can see, Pebble's the emotional support animal. Roger's the sad dad hours, and V is. And we have skits of the group every single time. These are my favorite part. Let's go ahead and see how this goes. Roger says, "You don't get it, V. It's not just stress. It's not just because we're the only ones who seem to notice. It's how so? It feels so obvious. Like all the pieces are right in front of us, just waiting to be put together. But for the life of me, I don't have a freaking clue." I'm sorry. This has been on my mind for quite some time. Don't worry about it. I'd be lying if I said it did. Oh my, I butchered. I'd be lying if I said it doesn't cross my mind too. Bono sketch. We got Twisted Boxten today. So, every tune has a boosted form, or some don't, like Toodles, because she's banned. This is just Boxten as a full-on twisted jabroni. So, as you can see, one of its Iker arms fused with his wrench, and now it doesn't grow or shrink anymore. But it's still just as heavy and dangerous. Somehow, his music box still works. That is terrifying. Of course it does. It's like a general horror movie. You're walking down a creepy hallway, and it's your... That was the sound of my jukebox, by the way, like the FNAF jukebox. Okay, but it's heavily distorted and creepy. Yeah, go figure. Yeah, okay. It's a good way to know how close he is. He lost both his hands to the Iker and half of one of his arms, so he relies on his bigger arms more. He doesn't smile. Oh yeah, I just realized that's. Oh, do you guys see his arms? And by the way, okay, I need to address this. I'm not saying it's gross, you know, to have a limb amputated. I just want to address this now. My greatest fear, no matter how irrational it is dismemberment. Like losing a limb, a finger, any way, shape, or form. Like, I would rather die than lose a finger. This is a genuine like fear and phobia of mine. So like seeing that stuff, like it really gives me the creep. So I just want to reiterate that I don't want to offend anyone who has like a prosthetic or lost a finger, limb, anything like. It just terrifies me. Okay, he doesn't smile much anymore. He's a twisted. Why would he smile? There are still hints of Boxten being conscious. That I wish there wasn't. Honestly, there are moments when he hesitates to swing. Man, you would honestly, okay, seriously, real talk though, if you were in the Danny's Wasteland and the things that are attacking you and trying to kill you have like a little bit of the person left, that makes you not want to like kill them to survive. We got the next group. It has Tegan in it. So I'm going to guess everyone that's in this group, okay? We've seen a lot of tunes, so it's a lot more narrowed down. So obviously Tegan's in the group. I'm gonna guess Astro is in this group, and I'm also gonna guess Cosmo. There's literally no reasoning. Tegan has an item. It's called Spice Blend. Spice Blend, in addition to her usual healing tea, Tegan holds on to a rather explosive brand of tea. What? Explosive tea. This is Danny's Wasteland, baby. We got exploding tea. Are you sure that's not Logan Paul in 2015? Like the tea, the drama, and because there was so much drama. I should stop making jokes. It's her primary form of attacking that she usually throws at her enemies. She claims it's quite delicious when drinking carefully. So Tegan is a freaking bomber. She's a bomber in the Wasteland. I don't want to see her twisted version. I'm not surprised. Her Ichor tolerance is below average Ichor tolerance. The reason why I say it's not surprising is because she has liquid on top of her head. Same thing with like Finn. I just feel like if you drop Ichor into her bowl, it would just be so easy to infect her and inject Ichor into her. So that's why I think it makes, like, you know, that's why it would be low. Either way, no one knows where she gets her tea from, and no one will ever know, I don't think. Tegan cannot wait to host another tea party again. She misses the company. I would too. Tegan is content with her time in the Wasteland. While she obviously can't maintain the same level of elegance she would prefer, she doesn't outright dislike what she has and somehow keeps her looks intact. I mean, her chalice hasn't cracked, so do you guys see Lady Chalice when you look at Tegan too, by the way? That's the name, right? Like this person from Cuphead. That I've just always seen that when I've seen her. Tegan prefers keeping her distance with long range attacks, but if you close the distance, her fighting skills are not to be underestimated. Tegan just sounds like a dope freaking tune, bro. Tegan seems like she leveled up in the Wasteland. We got Tisha. So my predictions were wrong. I'm not disappointed to see Tisha, but Tisha also has an item. Tisha has an item called Bind. Tisha's favorite extendable feather duster. It's a reliable weapon with the ability to temporarily convert blots and mimics to fight for her and allies. So Tisha's broken. So that's what they're called. The little slime things are called blots and mimics. The duration depends on the tune being mimicked. That's crazy. So normal little Tisha, who likes to clean everything, getting chased by a twisted, she decides to brush their face a little bit, and then they fight for her. It is scary, though, like, if you were fighting in the Wasteland, and if you were Tisha, not knowing fully how long a blot or a mimic would fight for you, and, like, let's say you're fighting back-to-back to it, and then it just randomly switches and comes up behind you, and, yeah. It's still good. It's still, like, the strongest ability we've seen. Tisha actually makes big messes in a fight, yet stays clean herself, and I'm sure she cleans up the battlefield afterwards. Tisha is dealing with her time in the Wasteland. Isn't everyone dealing? Okay. She doesn't like how run down and dirty most are, but she knows she can't clean everything. No, you can't. That won't stop her from making bases a bit more comfortable to stay at. This is the best person to be on your team, other than Roger. She has standards after all. Surprisingly, Tisha insists on being a frontliner for most fights. Whoa. I mean, okay, when you're matched with Tegan, it would make sense though, right? It depends on who the other tune is, but you don't want to have multiple ranged fighters. Turning her duster into a what? Bow staff Tisha unlocked. Bro, that's like a skin. Like an icon skin. Turning her duster into staff to knock around and charm foes. This group's freaking sick. Yes, I got it right. Okay, one of the tunes is Cosmo. Dude, this team, I was gonna say Lady Power, Hopeless. Cosmo is a freaking dude. Cosmo is able to take multiple batches of healing treats. So this team not only can turn twisteds and Ichors or mimics and blots into allies, they have two tunes that can heal. And they have two really good fighters. And they have explosive bombs. This is the strongest team. They're most potent fresh, but can be saved for later when out scavenging for a lesser effect. Just don't let them go stale, otherwise they won't heal you and they'll lose flavor. Cosmo knows more than one way to bake. Some don't need an oven. Crazy. Also, Cosmo has incredible Ichor tolerance. That seems like it kind of came out of left field, to be honest with you. You know who he misses the most? We do. Cosmo misses his boy Sprout. We all know that. Cosmo is fine without Sprout. Initially was super nervous and scared when he was left alone for his first few days, but after making a group, he's grown rather calm. Even with limited resources, his baking skills go unmatched, and apparently without an oven, which doesn't make sense to my thick skeleton skull, but you know what, I'll trust the process. Cosmo, the second weakest tune, he's not built for combat and focuses more on supporting, which Okay, when you hear that, when you see that, how does it not make sense that Tisha is like insists on being a frontliner? What are you gonna force? Are you gonna force this little squishmallow in the front? No, you're not, dude. So it makes sense. That all makes sense. I like this team a lot. Here's what they all look like together. What a cool team. This is the stable squad. They seem stable. The only mentally okay group. Baker's goods. I mean, yeah, they have it all. They literally have it all. Tea time every time and Mrs. Clean. You got the 2 moms and you got a baker. Oh, honey, you've seen better days. Well, it's Boxten. I don't think we have much to... Should we be worried? Pow! Bad! Tisha absolutely just slugs Twisted Boxten in the face. Bad Boxten. We're busy, so go somewhere else. I feel kind of bad, believe me. She feels worse right now. Does she really? But as you guys can see, this is the first time we've seen this. As we know, Tisha can turn these blobs and mimics into allies. So we watch as the eyes turn red. As she hit it, it went purple. And as she's doing this, it went blue. The Boxten almost looks scared. Tisha's ability literally takes them out of their twisted state temporarily. And that's something that's inherently insane. Moving on to some Danny's World doodles. Once again, massive shout out to transportation. Leave your comments down below. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed this series. I love doing this so much. So we've already seen this, so we're just gonna move on. Sorry, you're gonna see some black bars on the screen. To make it all fit, you have to have black bars. Get over it. So this is what Twisted Poppy looks like. Poppy's paranoia is through the roof. She won't even attack you herself. Instead, she'll trap you in a bubble and run. Whoa. In her twisted version, she'll make you go into a bubble and run, leaving you stuck and vulnerable to any other threat. So she still poses a really big problem. Poppy hates being alone. Given the opportunity, she will wander next to the closest twisted she can find. The popping of bubbles will tell you if she's... So if you just start hearing, it's not scary because you're too worried about Poppy. You're worried about what other twisted might be with her. If she can't use her bubble trap and you get too close to her, then she will actually attempt to harm you. It's best to leave her be. I would leave most twisteds. I guess you need to eradicate some of them. There are certain twisteds she will avoid herself or stay close to more often. With Boxten and Shrimpo, she will likely stay with them the longest, but she'll stay away from other tunes. As far as the relationship goes, I forget who Poppy is not on good terms with. I would be one of them. And here's Twisted Shrimpo, kind of a little bit demonic. Wow, yeah, he's a surprisingly scary twisted. Whoa. Most of the Iker went straight to Shrimpo's arms. His legs still work, but he doesn't use them unless he's idle. Okay, I can see that. Despite being so big, he makes very little noise when moving unless he begins his charge. So you won't know when he's coming. You won't know when this freakish... this is Team Arms, by the way. Boxten and Shrimpo, Team Arms. When Shrimpo sees a tune, he'll likely make a loud noise, okay, so you will know when he's around, before charging in whatever direction he sees the tune. He won't stop until he hits a wall or travels far enough. So he's like Blight from Dead by Daylight. Shrimpo's charge does not discriminate from twisted, tune, or blot. He'll only start when he sees a tune, but he will charge into anyone and anything. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to understand. It seems like these twisted still have some part of them. At least Poppy and Boxten definitely did, but I guess it kind of depends on the tune and maybe their Iker tolerance, because as you know, Shrimpo had like bad Iker tolerance, so maybe that's why he is less like fully intact. Moving on, we got a drawn animation of, I don't know who this is running. I'm assuming Finn? And then we have a drawn animation of Goob, I think, holding Twisted Toodles away, because as you guys know, or maybe don't know, Twisted Toodles is once again banned from boosting. We have a blank transparent background, and we have another animation with Scraps. For the 20th time, I'm not a freaking cat. Are you sure? Positive. I will never not call a cat. Also, wait, this is Goob and Scraps? Goobs and Scraps were not on the same team, right? What about the laser pointer or your yarn ball collection? Or that time I found you rolling around in grass, but like in our house. Where did you get all that grass? Why did you have so much grass? The yard was fine, so I don't know if you got it from there. Scraps will never beat the catagation. Scraps is a cat. In my opinion. Either way, with that being said, that is going to go ahead and wrap up this Danny's Wasteland episode. I've been doing these weekly. There's still more. Leave your comments and questions for transportation down below. With that being said, make sure you guys all unsubscribe. Danny's update should be coming out later today. I'm very excited for that. And I'll see you guys all again tomorrow. Bye!